The warrior's path was never one of mere victory, for the samurai understood that a triumph secured through deceit was a fortress built upon ash. True success, the kind that endures across generations, was found not in the cunning of the mind, but in the unbreakable resolve of the spirit. To possess Bushido, the way of the warrior was to make one's word a living blade, sharper than any steel forged in fire. When a samurai pledged his integrity, he pledged his very existence. To break that pledge was to cease to exist as a man of honor. In this, we find the first and most profound wisdom. Prosperity does not come from what you acquire, but from what you refuse to compromise. A life built on the shifting sands of expediency will crumble, but a life anchored in unwavering principle becomes unassailable. Honor was not a crown to be worn for admiration, but a heavy mantle of accountability. The samurai knew that the greatest enemy resided not on the opposing field, but within the chambers of their own heart, in the whispers of fear, the seduction of shortcuts, and the paralysis of self-doubt. To prosper was to wage a daily, silent war against these weaknesses. Integrity meant that a warrior's actions in the shadows must be as righteous as those performed before 1,000 witnesses. It taught that a man who cannot govern his own impulses is fit to govern nothing. Thus, true success became synonymous with self-mastery. The samurai who conquered his own vanity and cowardice wielded a power that no external force could ever diminish. In an era rife with political intrigue and sudden violence, the pragmatic mind would argue that honor was a liability, a swift path to an early grave. Yet, the wisdom of the samurai inverted this logic, revealing honor as the ultimate strategic advantage. A warrior known for absolute integrity became a force greater than his sword arm. His alliances were unbreakable, his word was accepted as bond without question, and his reputation preceded him as a shield. Lords sought his counsel, enemies hesitated to create a foe of such unwavering character, and retainers would follow him into the jaws of death, knowing they were not being led to slaughter for a lie. Prosperity, therefore, was the natural yield of a reputation forged in the fire of absolute reliability. It was the currency of trust, and in a chaotic world, trust was the rarest and most valuable treasure of all. To walk the path of honor was to embrace the reality of transience, mono no aware, the bittersweet awareness that all things are fleeting. The samurai meditated deeply on death, not as an act of morbidity, but as the ultimate lens to bring life into sharp focus. By accepting that their time was limited, they stripped away the illusion of false security and the desperate clinging to outcomes. Integrity became effortless when one was no longer a slave to the fear of loss. A warrior fought with perfect clarity because they had already surrendered the need to survive. They simply sought to act rightly. This profound wisdom teaches that the highest success is found in detachment from the fruits of one's actions. When you act with purity of intent, unshackled from the terror of failure, you become capable of greatness that fear could never allow. Ultimately, the samurai understood that legacy was not written in the territories they conquered, but in the spirit they embodied. A domain might be lost to a rival, but a life of integrity left an indelible mark on the souls of those who witnessed it. The prospering they sought was not merely material wealth, which could be stolen in a night, but the enduring prosperity of a name spoken with reverence, of a clan strengthened by an unbreakable moral code, and of a spirit that faced the void without flinching. They succeeded not because they were the strongest, but because they were the most true. The wisdom they left for the ages is this: honor is not a constraint on power, but its purest form. To live with integrity is to build a self that no circumstance can destroy, and in that unassailable foundation lies the only success that truly matters.